The massive ship moved through space like a silver arrow cutting through the darkness. Commander Ji-won stood on the bridge watching the stars ahead. Her hands gripped the metal railing as she studied the view screen. After 3 months of travel, they were finally close to their target. "Commander, we are approaching the Sol system," announced Lieutenant Minho from his position at the navigation controls. His voice carried excitement that he tried to hide. This was his first deep space mission with the Galactic Federation Survey Corps. Ji-won nodded slowly. She had been waiting for this moment for 2 years, ever since the long-range scouts had detected signs of complex life around the yellow star called Sol. The third planet from that star showed all the signs of a thriving biosphere. Water oceans covered most of the surface, thick atmosphere with oxygen, temperature ranges that could support many forms of life. "Bring us into standard orbit around the target planet," Ji-won ordered. "Begin preliminary scans." The ship called. Harmony's Edge was one of the most advanced vessels in the Federation fleet. Its bioscanning equipment could detect and analyze life forms from orbit with amazing detail. The crew of 45 specialists had spent years preparing for this mission. Finding new worlds with life was always exciting. Finding worlds with intelligent life was the dream of every explorer. Dr. Han-woo moved to his station near the main scanner controls. As the head of the xenobiology team, he would lead the analysis of whatever they found down on the planet. He had discovered life on 12 different worlds during his career. Each one had taught him something new about how life could develop in the universe. "Beginning surface scans now," Hyun-woo announced. His fingers moved across the control panel with practiced ease. The ship's powerful sensors reached down toward the planet below. Initial readings look very promising. The planet appeared on the main screen. Blue oceans sparkled under the light of its yellow sun. White clouds swirled across the surface. Brown and green land masses stretched across several continents. From space, it looked beautiful and peaceful. "Look at that water coverage," said Dr. Nari, the marine biologist. She pointed at the screen with obvious excitement. "Those oceans must be full of life. The temperature readings suggest perfect conditions for complex organisms." Captain Taewon joined them at the scanner station. He was an older man with gray hair and kind eyes. He had led more first contact missions than anyone else in the Federation. "What are we seeing down there, Hyun-woo?" "The preliminary data is extraordinary," Hyun-woo replied. He studied the numbers flowing across his screen. "Biodiversity readings are off the charts. This planet has more different species than any world we have ever studied." The excitement on the bridge was easy to feel. Everyone knew they were looking at something special. Most planets with life had maybe a few hundred different species. The really diverse worlds might have a few thousand. But the early readings from this planet suggested numbers far beyond anything in their databases. "Deploy the deep scanning array," Ji-won ordered. "I want complete biological profiles of every major life form on that planet." The ship's most powerful scanners extended from the hull like metal flowers opening to the sun. These devices could analyze the genetic structure of organisms from orbit. They could count population numbers, track migration patterns, and even study behavior patterns. Hyun-woo watched as data began flowing into the ship's computers. The scanning process would take several hours to complete. In that time, they would build a complete picture of life on the planet below. He expected to find the usual mix of plant life, small creatures, and maybe a few larger predators at the top of the food chain. "The ocean scans are coming in first," reported Dr. Nari. She frowned as she studied her screen. "These readings are unusual?" "What do you mean?" asked Ji-won. "The size range of marine life is much broader than normal," Nari explained. "We are detecting creatures from microscopic size all the way up to... Well, the computer says some of these ocean animals are over 30 meters long." Hyun-woo looked up from his own screen. 30-meter sea creatures were not impossible, but they were rare. Most ocean predators topped out at maybe 10 meters. Anything larger usually had trouble finding enough food to survive. Could be filter feeders, suggested Lieutenant Somin from the communication station. Large size but peaceful feeding habits. Let me check the behavioral patterns, Nari said. Her fingers flew over her controls as she dug deeper into the scan data. After a few minutes, she looked up with a puzzled expression. These large marine animals are not filter feeders. The scans suggest they are active hunters. A chill ran down Hyunwoo's spine. Active hunting animals that size would need enormous amounts of food. That meant either huge populations of prey species or prey species that were much larger than normal. Either way, it suggested a very different kind of ecosystem than they usually found. Continue the scans, Ji-won ordered. Focus on the land masses next. The hours passed slowly as the ship's computers built up a picture of the planet's life forms. With each new scan, the data became more confusing. The land animals showed the same pattern as the ocean life. Huge diversity in size, behavior, and habitat. Many species that seemed designed for hunting and fighting. Commander, you need to see this, Hyunwoo called out. His voice carried a note of concern that made everyone on the bridge turn to look at him. The scan results are unprecedented. Ji-won moved to stand behind Hyunwoo's chair. What have you found? This planet breaks every rule we know about ecosystem development, Hyunwoo said slowly. He pulled up a display showing the scan summary. Look at these numbers. We have detected over 8 million different species of animals. The computer estimates there might be twice that many when we include the smaller organisms. That is incredible biodiversity, Taewon said with a smile. This world must be a paradise for life. No, sir, Hyunwoo replied quietly. I do not think this is a paradise at all. Look at these behavioral profiles. Look at the physical adaptations. Look at the predator-to-prey ratios. The bridge fell silent as everyone studied the data. What they saw there would change everything they thought they knew about life in the universe. This was not a normal world at all. This was something far more dangerous and amazing than they had ever imagined. Schedule a senior staff meeting for 0800 hours tomorrow, Ji-won ordered. We need to discuss these findings before we proceed with any further analysis. As the bridge crew began to disperse for the night shift, Hyunwoo remained at his station. He stared at the scan data and felt a growing sense of unease. In his years of studying alien life, he had learned to recognize certain patterns. Peaceful worlds had predictable ecosystems. Dangerous worlds showed clear warning signs. But this planet showed patterns he had never seen before. Patterns that suggested something had gone very wrong with evolution here. Or perhaps something had gone very right in a way that would terrify every other species in the galaxy. He saved his data files and prepared to leave the bridge. Tomorrow would bring answers to questions he was not sure he wanted to ask. But one thing was already clear. This blue and green world spinning peacefully. Below them was hiding secrets that could change the fate of the entire Galactic Federation. The meeting room fell silent as Dr. Hyunwoo finished his presentation. Commander Ji-won stared at the data displays with growing disbelief. Captain Taewon rubbed his temples as if fighting a headache. Lieutenant Somin sat motionless in her chair, her face pale. Run the analysis again, Ji-won said finally. Her voice was steady, but her hands shook slightly as she reached for her coffee cup. There must be an error in the scanning systems. I have run it 6 times already, Hyunwoo replied. He looked tired after working through the night to verify his findings. The results are always the same. Every scan confirms what we are seeing. Dr. Nari leaned forward in her chair. Explain it to us again, slowly this time, because what you are suggesting is impossible according to everything we know about evolution. Hyunwoo activated the holographic display in the center of the table. A 3-dimensional image of the planet appeared, covered in red dots that represented dangerous life forms. According to our scans, this planet has no prey species. That cannot be right, Captain Taewon interrupted. Every ecosystem needs herbivores, filter feeders, creatures that eat plants or smaller organisms. Otherwise, the whole food web collapses. That is exactly what I thought, Hyunwoo said. He manipulated the display to show different layers of data. But look at the scan results more carefully. Every single animal we have detected shows adaptations for hunting, fighting, or killing other creatures. The hologram zoomed in to show the ocean depths. Strange shapes moved through the dark water like living nightmares. Take these deep-sea creatures, for example. They do not filter feed like similar animals on other worlds. Instead, they actively hunt prey that is almost as large as they are. Lieutenant Soman found her voice. What about the smaller fish? Surely they must eat plants or tiny organisms. Even the smallest fish we have detected carry venom or have razor-sharp teeth, Hyunwoo explained. The plant eaters exist, but they are heavily armored with thick shells or toxic skin. They have evolved to be dangerous even while eating grass. Commander Ji-won stood up and walked to the viewing window. The blue planet hung in space below them, looking peaceful and beautiful. It was hard to believe that such a lovely world could hide such terrible secrets. Show us the land animals, she ordered without turning around. The hologram shifted to display the continents. New shapes appeared in the projection. Some were familiar-looking, like the four-legged creatures they had, seen on dozens of other worlds. But the details were all wrong. The teeth were too large. The claws were too sharp. The muscles were too powerful. These creatures that look like grazers, Hyunwoo pointed to a group of large animals, have defensive capabilities that would make them dangerous to approach. Thick armor plating, horns that can pierce battle steel, and enough strength to flip over a ground vehicle. Dr. Nari studied the data with growing horror. What about pack behavior? Surely some of these animals work together for protection rather than hunting. They do work in packs, Hyunwoo confirmed, but not for protection. The pack animals coordinate their attacks with military precision. They use complex strategies to surround and capture prey that is larger and stronger than any individual member of the pack. The room fell quiet again as everyone absorbed this information. In all their years of exploring the galaxy, none of them had ever encountered anything like this. Most worlds followed predictable patterns. Small creatures ate plants. Medium creatures ate small creatures. Large creatures ate medium creatures. There were usually only a few apex predators at the very top of the food chain. How many apex predators does this planet have? Asked Captain. Taewa Hyunwoo hesitated before answering. According to our classification system, every species we have scanned qualifies as an apex predator. That is scientifically impossible, Dr. Nari protested. Apex predators need large territories and lots of prey. You cannot have millions of different apex predator species on one planet. Unless, Lieutenant Soman said slowly, they all prey on each other. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. The implications were staggering. A world where every animal was both predator and prey, where survival meant being strong enough to kill your neighbors while staying alert enough to avoid being killed by them. Look at these behavioral patterns, Hyunwoo continued. He displayed movement tracking data from the surface. The animals do not just hunt for food. They fight for territory, for mates, for resources, sometimes for no apparent reason at all. Constant conflict appears to be the natural state of life on this planet. Commander Ji-won returned to her seat. Her face was grim as she studied the evidence before them. What about intelligence? Have you detected any signs of sapient life? That is the most disturbing part of all, Hyunwoo admitted. He called up a new set of data files. We have detected clear signs of tool use, agriculture, and civilization. There is definitely an intelligent species on this planet. Where do they fit in this ecosystem of predators? Taewon asked. They appear to be at the very top, Hyunwoo said quietly. The intelligent species has not only survived in this environment, they have thrived. They have built cities, developed technology, and established complex societies. all while surrounded by creatures that could kill them without effort. The hologram displayed images of structures on the planet's surface, cities with millions of inhabitants, roads connecting distant settlements, signs of industry and agriculture. It looked like any other civilized world they had encountered. How is that possible? Somin wondered aloud. How could an intelligent species develop in such a hostile environment? I believe, Hyunwoo said carefully, that they developed because of the hostile environment, not despite it. The constant pressure from dangerous predators forced rapid evolution of intelligence, tool use, and cooperation. They became smart and organized because anything less than perfection meant extinction. Dr. Nari pulled up additional data on her personal display. Look at these population density readings. These intelligent beings live in groups of millions. They have mastered agriculture and animal husbandry on a planet where every animal is a potential killer. They have domesticated some of the predators, Hyunwoo added. The scans show smaller versions of the dangerous species living inside their settlements. They have somehow turned deadly creatures into companions and work animals. The meeting room fell silent once more. Everyone stared at the data displays, trying to comprehend what they were seeing. A planet full of monsters. An intelligent species that had not only survived among those monsters, but had conquered them. What do we do now? Lieutenant Somin asked. Commander Ji-won looked around the table at her senior staff. Each face showed the same mixture of fascination and terror. They had come here expecting to find another peaceful world with simple life forms. Instead, they had discovered something that challenged every assumption about evolution and survival. We continue our observations, Ji-won decided, but from a safe distance, and we prepare a full report for Federation Command. They need to know what we have found here. As the meeting broke up, Hyunwoo remained behind to study the data once more. Deep in his heart, he knew they had discovered something that would change the galaxy forever. The question was whether that change would be for better or worse. Outside the viewing window, the beautiful blue planet continued its peaceful rotation. But now they knew the truth about what lived on its surface. A world of predators ruled by the ultimate predator species. And somewhere down there, those ultimate predators were looking up at the stars. Dr. Hyunwoo stood before the massive holographic display in the ship's main science lab. 3 days had passed since the shocking meeting with the senior staff. 3 days of non-stop analysis and verification. The results were always the same, and they were always terrifying. Quantum relay connection established, announced Lieutenant Minho from the communications console. The Science Council is ready to receive your report. Hyunwoo took a deep breath. He was about to share information that would shake the foundations of galactic science. Everything they thought they knew about evolution was about to change. The hologram flickered to life, showing the faces of 12 distinguished scientists from across the galaxy. Dr. Naeon of the Centauri Research Institute appeared in the center of the display. Her blue skin and large eyes marked her as a member of the Altarian species, known throughout the galaxy for their brilliant scientific minds. Dr. Hyunwoo, Naeon said in her melodic voice, "We have received your preliminary data files. Your claims are extraordinary. Please explain your findings in detail." Hyunwoo activated his presentation. The image of Earth appeared in the center of the lab, surrounded by streams of data and analysis. Honored council members, what we have discovered on Sol 3 challenges everything we understand about biological evolution. He began with the basic facts: the incredible biodiversity, the unusual size ranges of the creatures, the behavioral patterns. That made no sense according to established science. The council members listened in growing amazement as he described a world where every creature was designed for violence. "You claim there are no prey species," interrupted Dr. Kento from the Vegan Science Academy. His tentacles writhed with skepticism. "This is impossible. Without herbivores and filter feeders, the entire ecosystem would collapse within a few generations. That was my initial reaction as well, Hyunwoo replied. He manipulated the display to show feeding patterns across the planet. But this ecosystem operates on principles we have never encountered. The herbivores exist, but they have evolved massive defensive capabilities. They are not prey in any sense we understand. They are weapons that happen to eat plants. The image shifted to show a creature that looked like a peaceful grass eater. But the scan data revealed armor plating that could stop energy weapons, horns that could pierce starship hulls, and enough raw strength to fight off multiple attackers. Dr. Neon leaned forward in her chair. "Show us the carnivores." The display, filled with nightmarish shapes from Earth's oceans and continents. Creatures with jaws that could crush battle tanks. Pack hunters that coordinated attacks with military precision. Solitary predators that could track prey across vast distances using senses that no other known species possessed. Every single carnivore we have scanned shows adaptations that far exceed anything we have seen on other worlds, Hyunwoo explained. They are not just predators, they are living weapons systems. Dr. Yuki from the Tau Ceti Observatory raised a webbed hand. What evolutionary pressure could possibly create such extreme adaptations? That brings me to the core of my theory, Hyunwoo said. He displayed a timeline of Earth's geological history. This planet has experienced repeated mass extinction events over the past 500 million years. Ice ages, asteroid impacts, volcanic catastrophes that would have sterilized most worlds. The timeline showed disaster after disaster striking the planet. Each one should have reset evolution back to simple organisms. Instead, the life forms that survived became more complex and more dangerous. On normal worlds, mass extinctions create opportunities for new species to evolve in empty niches, Hyunwoo continued. But on Sol 3, something different happened. The survivors of each catastrophe were the most violent and adaptable species. They filled every available niche with creatures designed for maximum lethality. Dr. Neon studied the data with growing fascination. You are suggesting that this planet created a feedback loop. Each extinction event selected for more aggressive traits, which led to more intense competition, which created even more aggressive traits. Exactly, Hyunwoo confirmed. For hundreds of millions of years, this planet has been running a continuous experiment in evolutionary warfare. Every species that exists today is the result of countless generations of survival testing under the most extreme conditions imaginable. The council members exchanged worried glances. The implications were staggering. Most species in the galaxy had evolved on peaceful worlds with stable climates and predictable food sources. They were adapted for cooperation and efficiency, not violence and survival. What about the intelligent species you detected? Asked Dr. Kento. How do they fit into this theory? Hyunwoo's expression grew even more serious. They are the final product of this evolutionary arms race, the ultimate survivors. They did not just adapt to living among these deadly creatures, they conquered them. The display showed images of human cities surrounded by creatures that could destroy them in hours. Yet the cities thrived. Millions of humans lived and worked in close proximity to biological weapons that most galactic species would flee from in terror. Look at their behavioral patterns, Hyunwoo said, highlighting movement data from human settlements. They do not simply avoid the dangerous creatures. They seek them out. They capture them, study them, and in many cases domesticate them. Dr. Yuki's gills fluttered with alarm. They domesticated apex predators? Multiple species of them, Hyunwoo confirmed. Creatures that our computers classify as Class 3 biological hazards are kept as companions in human homes. They have turned pack hunters into work animals. They swim in waters filled with predators that could kill a battleship crew. The council chamber fell silent. Every member was processing the same terrifying realization. They were not looking at data about another peaceful species ready to join the galactic community. They were looking at information about the most dangerous life form ever discovered. Dr. Naeon broke the silence. "What is your recommendation for contact protocols?" Hyunwoo had been dreading this question. As a scientist, he was fascinated by humans and wanted to study them further. As a rational being, he was terrified of what contact might bring. "I believe," he said slowly, "that we need to reconsider our entire approach to this system. These humans are not like any species we have encountered. They evolved on a planet designed to kill everything that lives on it. They survived by becoming better at killing than anything else." "Are you suggesting they are hostile?" asked Dr. Kento. "I am suggesting they are something we do not understand," Hyunwoo replied. "Their psychology, their social structures, their entire civilization is built around concepts of conflict and survival that are foreign to us. Contact with them could be extremely dangerous." The council members began discussing the implications among themselves. Voices rose as the debate intensified. Some argued for immediate contact to learn from these remarkable survivors. Others demanded the system be quarantined until they could better understand the threat. Dr. Naeon called for order. "Dr. Hyunwoo, prepare a complete report with all your findings. The full Federation Council will need to vote on how to proceed." As the connection ended, Hyunwoo stood alone in the science lab, staring at the image of Earth. Somewhere on that beautiful blue world, humans were going about their daily lives, working, learning, building families, and pursuing dreams just like any other intelligent species. But they were doing it all while surrounded by creatures that could end civilization on most worlds. And somehow, impossibly, they had made it look easy. The question that haunted Hyunwoo was simple. If humans could thrive in an environment that would destroy any other known species, what would they be capable of once they reached the stars? Commander Jiwon authorized the deployment of stealth observation probes 1 week after Dr. Hyunwoo's presentation to the Science Council. The decision had not been easy. Getting too close to the planet meant risking discovery by the intelligent species below. But they needed more detailed information about these humans before making any final recommendations. "Probes are in position," reported Lieutenant So-min from her station. "All systems are functioning normally. We should have detailed observation, data within hours." Dr. Hyunwoo worked alongside Dr. Nari at the analysis station. They had modified the ship's standard observation protocols to focus on human behavior patterns. What they were about to see would either confirm their worst fears or prove that humans were not as dangerous as their environment suggested. The first images began arriving from the surface. High-resolution videos of human settlements showed scenes that looked almost normal. People walking through streets, children playing in parks, workers going about their daily tasks. For a moment, Hyunwoo felt hopeful that maybe humans were just another peaceful species that happened to live on a dangerous world. Then the probes began transmitting data from the areas surrounding the cities. "Look at this," Dr. Nari called out, her voice tight with disbelief. "These humans are engaging in recreational activities with class-13 biological hazards." The main screen displayed a beach scene where humans were swimming in ocean water. The scan data showed multiple large predators moving through the same area, creatures with enough bite force to sever a human in half. Yet the humans seemed completely unaware of the danger. "Maybe they do not know the predators are there," suggested Lieutenant Minho. "No," Hyunwoo said grimly. "Look at the behavioral data. The humans know exactly where the predators are. They are swimming with them intentionally." More probe data arrived showing equally impossible scenes. Humans climbing mountains inhabited by territorial pack hunters. Families camping in. Forests filled with creatures that the ship's computers classified as extreme biological threats. Children playing with smaller versions of apex predators as if they were harmless pets. Captain Taewon joined them at the observation station. "Are we certain these readings are accurate? What we are seeing appears to violate basic survival instincts." "The probes are functioning perfectly," Soman confirmed. "All readings have been verified multiple times. The humans really are doing what we think they are doing." Dr. Hyunwoo pulled up comparative data from other intelligent species. "Look at this analysis. When members of known galactic species encounter apex predators, they show predictable stress responses, elevated heart rate, defensive posturing, immediate retreat behavior. But humans show none of these responses." The evidence was overwhelming. Human physiological readings remained normal even when surrounded by creatures that should terrify them. Their body language was relaxed and confident. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to enjoy the presence of dangerous animals. "Run a psychological profile analysis," ordered Commander Ji-won. "I want to understand what makes these beings so different from every other intelligent species we have encountered." The ship's computers worked for hours, processing thousands of hours of observation data. When the analysis was complete, the results left the entire bridge crew in stunned silence. According to the psychological profile, Hyunwoo read from his screen, "Humans exhibit behavioral patterns consistent with apex predators, but retain the social cooperation abilities of prey species. They are simultaneously highly territorial and intensely social." Dr. Nari shook her head in confusion. "That combination should not be possible in an intelligent species. Apex predator psychology typically prevents complex social cooperation." "Not on this planet," Hyunwoo replied. "The environmental pressures were so extreme that humans had to develop both traits to survive. They needed apex predator instincts to deal with the constant threats, but they also needed cooperation to build the technology necessary to thrive." Lieutenant Somin pulled up additional data on her screen. "Look at their entertainment media. The probe signals include their communication broadcasts. Even their stories and games focus on conflict, survival, and overcoming impossible odds. The observation data revealed that human culture was built around concepts that were foreign to most galactic species. Their literature celebrated warriors and survivors. Their games simulated combat and competition. Their sports involved controlled violence and physical confrontation. They have turned conflict into an art form," Captain Taewon observed with growing unease. "Even their peaceful activities are competitive in nature." But the most disturbing discovery came when the probes detected human military installations. Dr. Hyunwoo studied the readings with growing alarm as he realized what they meant. Their weapon systems are based on the same principles as their biological environment, he announced to the bridge crew. "They have studied the predators on their world and copied their most effective killing methods. The probe data showed weapons that mimicked the venom of deadly creatures, explosive devices that replicated the hunting strategies of pack animals, and defensive systems based on the armor plating of herbivorous species. They have militarized their entire planet," Lieutenant Soman said quietly. "Every nation, every government, every organization maintains armed forces designed for warfare." Commander Ji-won studied the military analysis with growing concern. "What is their current technological level?" "They have achieved nuclear fission, orbital spaceflight, and global communication networks," Hyunwoo reported. "Their rate of technological advancement is approximately 3 times faster than the galactic average." The implications were staggering. Most intelligent species took thousands of years to develop, from basic tools to space travel. Humans had compressed that timeline into mere centuries through intense competition and constant innovation driven by survival needs. Dr. Nari discovered something even more troubling in the social analysis data. Look at their historical records. They have never achieved planetary peace. There has been continuous warfare somewhere on their planet for their entire recorded history. "Continuous warfare for thousands of years?" Captain Taewon asked in disbelief. "It gets worse," Nari continued. They do not just fight for resources or territory. They wage war over abstract concepts like religious beliefs, political systems, and cultural differences. They have turned ideological disagreement into a reason for mass violence. The bridge fell silent as everyone processed this information. Most galactic species had brief periods of conflict during their early development, followed by thousands of years of peace once they achieved global unity. Humans had achieved advanced technology while maintaining dozens of separate nations in constant competition with each other. What happens when they develop interstellar travel? Lieutenant Minho asked the question that was on everyone's mind. Dr. Hyun-woo had been running predictive models based on human behavioral patterns. The results kept him awake at night. Based on their psychological profile and historical patterns, they will not explore the galaxy. They will expand into it. There is a difference? Asked Soman. Exploration implies peaceful contact and gradual expansion, Hyun-woo explained. Expansion implies rapid territorial acquisition and resource exploitation. Given their competitive nature and history of constant conflict, humans will likely view the galaxy as territory to be claimed rather than a community to join. Commander Ji-won walked to the viewing window and stared down at the blue planet. Somewhere below, millions of humans were living their lives, completely unaware that their every action was being analyzed by alien observers. They looked so similar to other intelligent species, but the data revealed them to be something entirely different. Prepare a priority transmission to Federation Command, Ji-won ordered. Include all observation data and analysis. Classification. Level maximum security. As the crew prepared the transmission, Dr. Hyun-woo continued studying the probe data. Every new piece of information confirmed his growing fears. Humans were not just another species that could be integrated into galactic civilization. They were the product of an evolutionary process that had created the perfect predator species with the intelligence and technology to dominate any environment they entered. The question was no longer whether humans would eventually reach the stars. The question was what the galaxy would look like once they arrived, and based on everything they had learned, the answer to that question terrified him more than any creature living on the deadly world below. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Federation Council had never been so quiet. Representatives from over 200 species sat in perfect silence as Admiral Tae-hyun of Fleet Command finished reading the classification report from the Harmonies. Edge. The holographic display showed image after image of Earth's deadly creatures and the humans who lived among them. Dr. Hyun-woo stood at the central podium, having traveled to the Federation capital world to present his findings in person. The weight of 200 alien stares pressed down on him as he waited for the inevitable questions that would follow. Dr. Hyun-woo, spoke Chancellor Borum, the elected leader of the Federation Council. Your report suggests that Sol 3 represents a biological hazard unlike anything in our recorded history. Please summarize your key findings for the Assembly. Hyun-woo activated the holographic display behind him. Earth appeared in three-dimensional glory, rotating slowly to show its diverse continents and oceans. Honored representatives, what we have discovered challenges our fundamental understanding of evolution and intelligence. He began with the basic facts that had shocked his crew weeks earlier. The planet where every species was an apex predator. The ecosystem built on constant violence and competition. The impossible biodiversity that should have collapsed under its own weight, but somehow thrived. The intelligent species that evolved on this world, which we have designated as humans, represents the ultimate product of this evolutionary arms race, Hyun-woo continued. They have not simply adapted to survive among deadly predators, they have conquered an entire planet full of them. Representative Jin-woo of the Proxima Alliance raised a scaled hand. You claim these humans show no fear when encountering dangerous creatures. How is this possible? Fear is a basic survival instinct shared by all known intelligent species. Humans do experience fear, Hyun-woo clarified. but their fear responses are calibrated to threats that would kill most of us instantly. What we consider terrifying, they view as mildly concerning. What we consider mildly concerning, they ignore completely. The hologram displayed video footage of humans engaged in various activities, swimming with creatures that could swallow them whole, climbing cliffs while being stalked by pack hunters, children playing with animals that Federation computers classified as weapons of mass destruction. Dr. Sunho, the Federation's chief xenopsychologist, stood to address the assembly. He was a tall, thin being from the Vega system, with pale blue skin and large black eyes. His species was known for their expertise in understanding alien minds. I have analyzed the psychological profile data provided by Dr. Hyunwoo's team, Sunho announced. My findings are deeply troubling. Humans exhibit behavioral patterns that combine the territorial aggression of apex predators with the social cooperation abilities typically found in prey species. The assembly stirred uneasily. Most representatives came from species that were either predators or prey, but not both. The idea of a species that combined both sets of instincts was difficult to comprehend. Furthermore, Sunho continued, their entire culture is built around concepts of competition, conflict, and survival that are foreign to most galactic civilizations. They appear to thrive on challenges that would destroy other species. Representative Young-ho of the Tau Ceti Republic stood to speak. His people were known for their peaceful nature and had not experienced warfare in over 10,000 years. Dr. Sunho, are you suggesting these humans are naturally aggressive toward other species? I am suggesting something far more complex. Sunho replied, humans are not simply aggressive. They are competitive in ways we cannot fully understand. They compete with each other, with their environment, and with any challenge placed before them. This drives them to constant innovation and expansion. Admiral Tai-hyun stepped forward to address the military implications. Our analysis of human technological development shows advancement rates far beyond the galactic norm. They achieved nuclear power, space flight, and global communications in a fraction of the time required by other species. The hologram displayed a timeline comparing human advancement to other known species. The difference was stark. Where most civilizations took millennia to progress from basic tools to space travel, humans had done it in mere centuries. Their rapid advancement is driven by constant competition between different human groups, Tae-hyun explained. They have never achieved planetary unity. Instead, they maintain separate nations that compete for resources, territory, and technological superiority. Representative Sujin of the Centauri Federation expressed the concern many were feeling. What happens when such a competitive species develops interstellar travel capabilities? The question hung in the air like a dark cloud. Admiral Tae-hyun exchanged glances with Dr. Hyunwoo before answering. Based on their behavioral patterns and historical data, we believe humans will view the galaxy as territory to be claimed rather than a community to join. The assembly erupted in concerned voices as representatives discussed the implications among themselves. Chancellor Borum called for order, but it took several minutes for quiet to return. Are you recommending that we consider these humans to be a potential threat to galactic security? Borum asked directly. Dr. Hyunwoo hesitated before answering. As a scientist, he was fascinated by humans and wanted to study them further. But as a responsible member of galactic society, he could not ignore the potential dangers. I am recommending extreme caution, he replied carefully. Humans are unlike any species we have ever encountered. They evolved under conditions that would exterminate most known life forms. Their psychology, their technology, and their social structures are all adapted for environments of extreme competition and conflict. What specific measures do you recommend? Asked Admiral Tae-hyun. Complete quarantine of the Sol system until we can better understand the implications of contact, Hyunwoo said. No Federation vessel should be permitted within the system without specific authorization from this council. The debate that followed lasted for hours. Some representatives argued for immediate contact, claiming that humans could teach the galaxy valuable lessons about survival and adaptation. Others demanded more extreme measures, suggesting the planet should be sterilized before humans could develop interstellar capabilities. Representative Mira of the Altair Republic spoke for many when she said, "We cannot destroy an entire intelligent species based on fear and speculation. But we also cannot ignore the potential risks of contact with beings so fundamentally different from ourselves." As the debate continued, Dr. Sunho presented additional psychological analysis that influenced many representatives. Humans show patterns of behavior that we typically associate with territorial expansion and resource acquisition. Their history is filled with examples of one human group displacing or conquering another as they spread across their planet. "They have colonized every habitable environment on their world," added Admiral Tae-hyun, "from frozen polar regions to scorching deserts to the deepest ocean floors. They adapt to any environment rather than limiting themselves to optimal habitats." The implications were clear. A species that had conquered every environment on their home planet would likely attempt to do the same across the galaxy once they developed the technology for interstellar travel. Chancellor Borum finally called for a formal vote. The motion before the Assembly is to establish Sol 3 as a Class 0 restricted world, with complete prohibition on contact until further analysis can be completed. The vote was not even close. 187 representatives voted in favor of restriction. Only 13 voted against. The rest abstained. Resolution 238714 is hereby adopted, Borum announced. The Sol system is designated as restricted space. No Federation vessel may enter the system without unanimous approval from this council. As the assembly began to disperse, Dr. Hyunwoo remained at the podium staring at the image of Earth. The blue planet looked so peaceful and beautiful. It was hard to believe that such a lovely world had produced the most potentially dangerous species ever discovered. Admiral Tae-hyun approached him as the hall emptied. "You look troubled, Doctor. I keep wondering if we are making the right decision." Hyunwoo replied. "What if humans could be valuable allies rather than threats? What if their competitive nature could benefit galactic civilization rather than destroy it?" "Perhaps," Tae-hyun acknowledged. "But can we afford to take that risk? If we are wrong about humans being peaceful, the consequences could affect billions of lives across hundreds of worlds." Hyunwoo nodded reluctantly. The precautionary approach was probably wise. But deep in his heart, he wondered what humanity might have contributed to galactic civilization if they had been given the chance. Now they would never know. Earth would remain isolated and watched from a distance while the Federation tried to understand what it meant to share the galaxy with the ultimate predator species. The only question remaining was how long the restriction would hold, and what would happen when humanity inevitably reached the stars on their own. 5 years had passed since the Federation Council voted to restrict all contact with Earth. Dr. Hyunwoo, now director of Sol 3 Monitoring Station Omega, stood before the massive observation screens that dominated the command center. The space station hung at the edge of the solar system, close enough to monitor human activities, but far enough away to remain undetected. The years of watching had not made the job any easier. If anything, the constant observation of human development had made Hyunwoo more concerned about the future. Every day brought new evidence that humanity was advancing toward interstellar capabilities at an alarming rate. "Director, we have the latest technological assessment report," announced Captain Yoonji as she entered the command center. She was a competent officer who had been assigned to the monitoring station 2 years earlier. Like everyone else on the station, she had initially been skeptical about the threat humans might pose. That skepticism had not lasted long. "What are they doing now?" Hyunwoo asked without taking his eyes off the screens. "They have achieved controlled nuclear fusion," Yoonji reported. 3 different human nations accomplished it within the same month. The competitive pressure between their groups continues to drive rapid innovation. Hyunwoo sighed as he reviewed the data. Controlled fusion was a major milestone that typically took species centuries to achieve after first splitting the atom. Humans had done it in decades. Their competitive nature meant that whenever one group made a breakthrough, others quickly matched or exceeded it. "Any military applications?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. "Of course," Yoonji confirmed. "They have integrated the fusion technology into both spacecraft propulsion and weapons systems. They are also using it to power massive manufacturing complexes in orbital facilities." The monitoring station had watched as humans built increasingly sophisticated space infrastructure, orbital factories, mining operations on asteroids, research stations throughout their solar system. What should have taken millennia of careful development, humans had accomplished in a few short decades. Lieutenant Do-hyun approached from the communications station. "Director, we are receiving another inquiry from the Centauri Federation. They want to know when the Sol 3 restrictions will be lifted." This was becoming a regular problem. The official Federation records listed Sol 3 as restricted due to dangerous wildlife. After 5 years, many younger Federation citizens were beginning to question why an entire solar system remained off-limits because of some dangerous animals. "Send." "The standard response," Hyunwoo ordered. "Ongoing biological hazard assessment. Restrictions remain in effect pending further analysis." The truth was that the biological hazards were more dangerous than ever. But it was not the animals that concerned the monitoring team. It was the species that had conquered all those animals and was now reaching toward the stars with frightening determination. "Director," called out Dr. Minji from the behavioral analysis station, "you need to see the latest cultural monitoring data." Hyunwoo walked over to review the information that their deep space sensors collected from human communication networks. What he saw there made his concern even deeper. "Look at their entertainment media from the past year," Minji said, displaying charts and graphs. "Even their fictional stories are becoming more focused on interstellar expansion and contact with alien species." The data showed that human popular culture was increasingly fascinated with the idea of exploring beyond their solar system. Movies, books, games, and television shows all featured themes of humans spreading across the galaxy and encountering other intelligent species. "Notice the common themes," Minji continued. "In most of their fictional scenarios, humans are portrayed as either conquering other species or becoming dominant through superior technology and tactics." "Do they show any scenarios of peaceful coexistence?" Yoonja asked hopefully. "Some," Minji admitted. "But even in those stories, humans usually end up in leadership positions. Their psychology seems incapable of accepting a subordinate role in any relationship." This matched the psychological profiles that Dr. Sunho had prepared years earlier. Humans were fundamentally competitive beings who viewed every interaction as a challenge to be won. Even their peaceful relationships involved elements of dominance and control. "What about their space program development?" Hyunwoo asked Captain Yoonji. "That is the most troubling aspect of all," she replied. "They have begun construction of ships designed for interplanetary travel. The specifications suggest they could reach the nearest star systems within a few decades." Hyunwoo felt a chill run down his spine. Interstellar travel capability was the line they had all hoped humans would not cross for many more decades. Once humans could travel between star systems, the Federation would face an impossible choice. "Are these exploration vessels or military ships?" he asked. "Both," Yoonji replied grimly. "Every human space vessel includes weapon systems and defensive capabilities. They appear incapable of building anything that is not designed for potential combat." This was the pattern that had emerged over 5 years of observation. Humans did not separate civilian and military technology the way other species did. Every advancement served dual purposes. Their communication satellites could jam enemy transmissions. Their mining equipment could be converted to weapons. Their exploration ships were designed to fight their way through any obstacle they encountered. Lieutenant Do Yun returned with more disturbing news. Director, we have detected increased human activity in the outer regions of their solar system. They are establishing permanent bases on several moons and asteroids. Military bases? Hyun-woo asked. Mixed-use facilities, Do-yun reported. Research stations, mining operations, and defense installations all combined into integrated complexes. They are building infrastructure that could support long-term expansion beyond their solar system. The pieces were falling into place. Humans were not just developing interstellar travel capability. They were preparing for sustained expansion and colonization. Their competitive nature meant they would not be content with a few small colonies. They would want to claim as much territory as possible as quickly as possible. What is our current recommendation to Federation Command? Captain Yoonji asked. Hyun-woo had been struggling with this question for months. The monitoring data clearly showed that humans were becoming more dangerous with each passing year. Their technology was advancing rapidly. Their population was growing. Their space infrastructure was expanding. Soon they would have the capability to reach other star systems whether the Federation wanted them to or not. I have been preparing a comprehensive report, Hyun-woo said slowly. The conclusion is unavoidable. We are running out of time to decide humanity's place in the galaxy. He activated the main display to show a projection of human expansion patterns based on their current development trajectory. The image was sobering. Within 50 years, humans could have colonies in dozens of star systems. Within a century, they could control entire sectors of the galaxy. They will not ask permission, he continued. They will not wait for invitations to join galactic civilization. They will expand, because that is what their evolution has programmed them to do. Captain Eunji studied the projections with growing alarm. What are our options? 3 possibilities, Hyun-woo replied. First, we maintain the quarantine and hope they remain confined to their solar system. Second, we initiate contact while we still have the technological advantage. Third, we recommend more extreme measures to prevent their expansion. None of the options were appealing. The quarantine was already beginning to fail as other Federation species questioned the restrictions. Contact with humans could lead to unpredictable consequences, and more extreme measures would mean the destruction of an entire intelligent species based on fear rather than confirmed threats. What do you recommend? Yoonji asked. Hyun-woo walked to the main viewing window and stared out at the distant speck of light that was Earth's sun. Somewhere in that solar system, billions of humans were living their lives, completely unaware that their every move was being watched and analyzed by alien observers. I recommend we prepare for the inevitable, he said finally. Humans will reach the stars whether we want them to or not. The question is whether we try to guide that expansion or simply react to it when it happens. He turned back to face his staff. Begin preparation of a priority message to Federation Command. Include all monitoring data from the past 5 years, and our projections for human development over the next century. What will be your recommendation? Lieutenant Do-hyun asked. That we have approximately 10 years to decide how to handle humanity before they make the decision for us, Hyun-woo replied. After that, the initiative will be theirs. As his staff began preparing the transmission, Dr. Hyun-woo returned to the observation screens. The images showed human cities gleaming under alien suns, human ships moving between the stars, human colonies spreading across the galaxy. These were not real images, but computer projections based on observed behavior patterns. Yet Hyun-woo knew with certainty that somewhere in the multiverse of possibilities, these images represented humanity's future. The only question was whether the galaxy would be ready for them when they arrived. The final entry in his report would be both a warning and an acknowledgement of reality. Humanity represents the ultimate product of competitive evolution. They survived and conquered a planet designed to kill everything that lived on it. Once they reach the stars, they will not be stopped by political restrictions or diplomatic negotiations. They will claim their place in the galaxy because that is what predators do. The Federation must decide whether it wants to be their partner or their prey. Outside the viewing window, the stars waited silently for an answer that would determine the fate of every intelligent species in the galaxy.